Are we finally witnessing a fundamental shift in how the United States protects the men and women who wore the uniform? Or is the complexity of new legislation leaving too many veterans behind in the fine print? For years, the veteran community has sounded the alarm on rising housing costs, healthcare wait times, and a bureaucratic system that often feels like it's designed to say no. But recently, the legislative landscape has shifted. With a wave of bipartisan support, President Trump has signed a series of bills, some reaching back to his first term and others marking the start of 2025 and 2026 that aim to rewrite the script for veteran support. From the Forever GI Bill to the massive VA Home Loan Program Reform Act, these aren't just minor adjustments. They are structural changes. But here is the million-dollar question. Do these laws actually put money back in your pocket and keep a roof over your head? Or do they create new hurdles you aren't prepared for? Today, we are breaking down the massive 2025 and 2026 updates, analyzing the big beautiful bill for defense, and doing a deep dive into the VA Home Loan Program Reform Act, specifically HR 1815. We're going to look at the good, the bad, and the reality of what this means for your future. Let's start with the now. The early months of 2025 and 2026 have been a whirlwind for veteran policy. The flagship of this movement is the VA Home Loan Program Reform Act, HR 1815. Signed in July 2025, this was a direct response to the post-pandemic housing crisis, where thousands of veterans found themselves on the brink of foreclosure as interest rates spiked and temporary relief programs expired. But it didn't stop there. In January 2026, we saw a trio of bills hit the president's desk. First, the Disabled Veterans Housing Support Act. This is a huge win for those with high disability ratings. For the first time, it mandates that service-connected disability compensation cannot be counted as income, in a way that disqualifies you from certain housing support programs. It's a fix for a catch-22 that has plagued disabled vets for decades. Then, there's the VA Budget Shortfall Accountability Act. We've all heard the news stories about the VA running out of money mid-year. This law forces the VA to provide transparent, real-time reports on funding gaps, so veterans aren't the ones who suffer when the math doesn't add up in DC. Finally, the FAST Vets Act was signed to streamline vocational rehabilitation. If your path to a new career gets derailed, this law specifies exactly how and when the VA must redevelop your plan, cutting down the red tape that keeps vets in limbo. Now, let's get into the weeds of the VA Home Loan Program Reform Act, HR 1815. This is being hailed as the most significant update to veteran housing in a generation. But like any law, it has two sides. The advantages. The biggest pro is the partial claim incentive. Before this law, if you fell behind on your mortgage, your options were limited, often resulting in a lump sum payment you couldn't afford. HR 1815 allows the VA to help you manage delinquency by creating a partial claim. Essentially, the VA can help cover the past due amount to bring your loan current, allowing you to stay in your home while you pay back that assistance later, often at 0% interest, at the end of your loan term. Secondly, it modernizes the appraisal process. We've all heard the horror stories of sellers refusing VA loans because the inspections were too picky. This reform streamlines those requirements, making VA buyers more competitive in a cutthroat housing market. It's about keeping veterans in their homes and preventing homelessness before it starts. The disadvantages. However, it's not all sunshine. The primary disadvantage is the risk of equity erosion. By utilizing partial claims or modernizing delinquency management, some veterans may find themselves with very little equity in their homes if they need to sell quickly. You are essentially adding a second silent lien on your property. There's also the concern of bureaucratic lag. While the law is signed, the VA is notorious for taking months or even years to fully implement the technology needed to process these new claims. If you're facing foreclosure today, the Reform Act might not move fast enough to save you if the local VA office isn't up to speed. Finally, there's the small print issue. These benefits often apply strictly to VA-backed loans. If you refinanced into a conventional loan during the low-rate years, HR 1815 might not offer you the same protections. To understand where we are going, we have to look at the foundation these new laws are built on. These are the legacy pillars signed during the first Trump administration that changed the trajectory of veteran care. First, the VA Mission Act of 2018. This was the choice game changer. It didn't just give veterans the option to see a private doctor. It streamlined community care, established new urgent care benefits, and crucially expanded the caregiver program to include veterans from all eras, not just those post-9/11s. It broke the VA's monopoly on healthcare, forcing the system to compete for your satisfaction. Then, there's the Forever GI Bill of 2017. Before this, you had a 15-year window to use your education benefits. If you didn't use them, you lost them. The Forever GI Bill removed that expiration date for anyone who left the service after January 1st, 2013. It also expanded benefits for Purple Heart recipients, ensuring they received 100% of the post-9/11's GI Bill, regardless of how long they served on active duty. And let's not forget the Veterans Compensation COLA Act. By ensuring that cost of living adjustments for veterans match those of Social Security recipients, the government finally acknowledged that inflation hits the veteran community just as hard as everyone else. These bills weren't just one-offs. They were the beginning of a shift toward veteran-centric policy. So what's the bottom line? Between the Mission Act and the new 2025-2026 housing reforms like H.R. 1815, the message is clear. The focus has shifted from managing veterans to empowering them. These laws are designed to keep you in your home, keep you in the classroom, and keep you in the doctor's office of your choice. But the system only works if you know how to use it. These reforms are tools, but you have to be the one to pick them up. Whether it is applying for a partial claim to save your mortgage or checking your eligibility for the new housing income exclusions, our goal is to provide more than just information. We want to provide real-world support. Please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Every subscriber helps us grow this channel, which allows us to partner with organizations dedicated to feeding our veterans and ending food insecurity in our community. Your click truly makes a difference. Now, I want to hear from you. Out of all these new laws, from the VA home loan reforms to the Forever GI Bill, which one has had the biggest impact on your life, or which one do you think is still missing the mark? Drop a comment below. We read every single one, and your feedback helps us decide what to cover next. Thank you for your service, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.